What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back again with another installment of our Beyond Omega level series where we cover the most powerful characters in comics. And today, we're talking about perhaps Spider-Man's most deadly villain, the Red Goblin. Now, the first appearance of the Red Goblin occurred in the Amazing Spider-Man number 798 by Dan Slott and Stuart Immonen. Of course, this was in 2018 during Dan Slott's final story arc of his long run and amazing run on Amazing Spider-Man. And basically what happens is that Norman Osborn, which of course is the real name of the Green Goblin, one of Spider-Man's oldest and most bitter enemies, is basically sick of losing to Spider-Man all the time. So he decides he's going to find a way to find defeat his arch rival. So he steals the Carnage Symbiote from a S.H.I.E.L.D. warehouse. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you know what the Carnage Symbiote is, but in case you don't, I'll give you the extremely condensed version. So Spider-Man is taken to a planet called Battle World by a guy called the Beyonder, where he's basically bonded with an alien symbiote that he would eventually abandon, which made the symbiote pretty pissed off. Later, the symbiote would bond to Eddie Brock, who was also pissed off at Spider-Man, and in their mutual hatred, they became Venom. And when sharing a jail cell with a serial killer named Cletus Cassidy, the Venom symbiote basically left behind an offspring which bonded with Cletus and then became Carnage. Now, something else that I want to point out here is that Spider-Man had also taken away Norman Osborn's ability to become the Green Goblin. And so in truth, the hope of Norman Osborn was to bond with the Carnage symbiote in order to restore his ability to become the Green Goblin. The other part of that is that Norman had a really hard time controlling the symbiote because it was basically motivated by a desire to kill as many people as possible. But he's eventually able to reason with the symbiote as it allows him to have more control so that he can put his plan to kill Spider-Man in motion. But after his memory is jogged so that he remembers Spider-Man's secret identity, Norman Osborn confronts Peter Parker at the Daily Bugle as the Red Goblin and basically tells him that if he doesn't stop operating as Spider-Man, he'll kill everyone that's important to Peter. And when I say everyone, I mean like everyone. Now, Norman also takes a piece of the Carnage symbiote and then merges it with his grandson Normie to create the Goblin Child, which is essentially just a small version of the Red Goblin, and it's just really as creepy looking as it sounds. It really is. Now, Norman also plants a piece of the Carnage symbiote inside of Peter's loved ones and threatens that he can command these pieces of the symbiote to kill their host at any point in time. But Flash Thompson is able to save Mary Jane and Aunt May by removing the pieces of the Carnage symbiote. Now, the Red Goblin's quest to defeat Spider-Man comes to a head when the two of them battle in Times Square while Peter's wearing the Venom symbiote. And while Red Goblin gains the advantage at first, Spider-Man is able to mess with his head by getting Norman to doubt his own abilities by pointing out that he needed the Carnage symbiote in order to win. And so the battle ends with Spider-Man using a gas tank to destroy the Carnage symbiote, and the whole ordeal causes Norman to go insane and think that he actually is Cletus Cassidy while Spider-Man is Norman Osborn. Now, as for his powers, they come from two very different sources. Obviously, the Carnage symbiote is one of those sources, but it's also enhanced by the Goblin Serum. Now, the Goblin Serum was the substance that first transformed Osborn into the Green Goblin, which granted him a variety of powers like superhuman strength, speed, stamina, and reflexes, as well as a moderate healing factor. Now, even before being injected with the serum, Norman Osborn was pretty intelligent, but the serum took his intelligence to the next level, and he basically became a genius. However, this boost to his intelligence comes with a drawback in that the serum also seems to cause Norman Osborn to become mentally unstable to the point of insanity. Now, as we mentioned, at one point, Norman lost the abilities granted to him by the Goblin Serum after Dr. Octopus, as Superior Spider-Man, injected him with an anti-serum that counteracts its effects. But upon merging with the Carnage symbiote, the anti-serum is purged from his system and the Green Goblin is able to work again. But we also have the Carnage symbiote giving Norman Osborn powers as well. So most notably, this is going to make Norman Osborn even stronger, faster, and more durable than he is with the Goblin Serum. And just in terms of physical strength, Carnage is said to be stronger than Spider-Man and Venom combined. Now, the Carnage symbiote is also capable of shape-shifting, and its host frequently use this ability to turn their appendages into weapons like axes or swords, and also mimic Spider-Man's web-slinging abilities. Now, the Red Goblin in particular uses this ability to recreate his Goblin glider, which he uses to fly around, and an updated version of his famous pumpkin bombs that he very creatively names Carnage bombs, and which actually seem to have somewhat of a mind of their own, with the capability to speak and to bite their victims. He can also heal most injuries instantaneously, including the loss of his limbs. Now, traditionally, Additionally, the Carnage Symbiote has had a weakness to fire and sound, but the Red Goblin does not seem to share these weaknesses, as he's routinely been near fire with no ill effects and can even breathe fire for some reason. It's never really explained, but he can. However, he does retain one of Carnage's traditional weaknesses, which is the touch of the Anti-Venom symbiote, which was worn by Flash Thompson during this storyline. Now, it's time to address the elephant in the room, the thing you've probably been thinking ever since you clicked on this video. Is Red Goblin really Omega level? And to that, I answer an emphatic maybe. Does he have the feats to be considered Omega level? Probably not, but he does have impressive feats. He's defeated some incredibly powerful opponents, including Venom, Anti-Venom, Miles Morales, Silk, and Doc Ock. He's even defeated the Human Torch, which is definitely his most impressive feat, since the Human Torch is beyond Omega level in his own right. But is taking him out enough to make a character Omega level or beyond? Probably not, but could the Red Goblin theoretically do something that would cause us to consider him Omega level? And the answer to that is yes. Now, he's not going to destroy the planet in the traditional sense by blowing it up. He's not that sort of a threat, but that's not to say he couldn't destroy everyone living on the planet. In fact, I think he could, in much the same way that he threatened to kill Mary Jane and Aunt May by sending fragments of the Carnage symbiote into their brain. He could theoretically do the same thing to everybody in the world. Would that take some extensive planning by someone with a very keen and genius level intellect? Sure, but Norman Osborn fits that bill. He's smart enough and cruel enough to pull something like that off, and if he's going to wipe out all of the human life on the planet, then I don't think that's a big stretch to call him Omega level. Now, it is a little bit of a stretch to call him Omega level in general, but hey, work with me here, guys. Work with me. With that being said, we're gonna bring this to an end. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.